What's up guys, it is I, once again, Mr. Gamer 990. After having shared a top 5 list of my top 5 favorite video games on the Nintendo GameCube, I thought why not I do the same, this time for my top 5 favorite survival horror games. If you guys and girls don't know, I love survival horror so much, just like I love horror films. Horror is what defines me as a person, my passion, my love, my interest, and of course how I feel within. I have a list down here, a list of these survival horror games, and of course the name of the directors. I wrote down the names of some of these directors because their names are very hard to pronounce, but I'm going to do the best I can when describing my top 5 favorite horror games ever made, my top 5 favorite survival horror games that is, and here's how the list goes. At number 1 we have Resident Evil, the 1996 original game and the remake by Shinji Mikami. Shinji Mikami is an absolute genius. He created what defines the horror genre, that is Resident Evil. Resident Evil is a spiritual successor to the godfather or the grandfather of all survival horror games, that being Sweet Home, or in the Japanese translation, Sweet to Homu. That game was the very first survival horror game ever made. It's the granddaddy of all survival horror games. Resident Evil is what defines me as a gamer, a hardcore gamer who loves horror, loves survival horror games, and loves characters who have very bad dialogue, cheesy acting, but these characters are what defines the series for me personally. It's not just the atmosphere, or the monster design, or the tyrants. My god, I love the tyrants so much, or how cheesy Wesker can be. Wesker is without question the most cheesiest yet coolest villain ever made, but it's these characters that define the series for me personally, and why I am to this very day a hardcore Resident Evil fan, and why Resident Evil, despite how many other survival horror games that do have a more compelling story, Resident Evil is without question the best survival horror franchise ever made, no argument about it. Both the original and the remake of Resident Evil by the genius that is Shinji Mikami, it's the reason why Resident Evil ranks at number 1. Resident Evil is without doubt the best survival horror game ever made, in my personal opinion. At number 2 we have Resident Evil 7 Biohazard by Koshi Nakanishi. Thanks to Capcom and Koshi Nakanishi, they gave us the return to survival horror games in the form of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard captures the magic of what made Resident Evil and the franchise as a whole, excluding the more recent ones, a series that defines survival horror games, and why yours truly and so many other survival horror fans love survival horror games. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is a return to form for the Resident Evil franchise, and yours truly loves this game so much for the characters, the story, the atmosphere, just like the original and remake of Resident Evil. But this game surprisingly has a very strong story, a very strong melancholic tone to the story. This story is very sad and can be quite surprising at times, especially with how the horror is handled. There are two main characters in the story. They are Ethan Winters and his beloved wife, Mia Winters. I made a Let's Play series on Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, our Let's Play series, which you guys and gals can check out in the description box down below, along with my top 5 favorite video games in the Nintendo GameCube. Please check both those videos out. But Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is the best Resident Evil game since the original and the remake, both of which I love so much. But Resident Evil comes in a close second, a very close second. What makes Resident Evil the original and remake superior for me personally are the characters of Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, the cheesy villain Albert Wesker, Barry Burton, Big Man Barry, Rebecca Chambers, my waifu, Enrico, and so many other characters to name from the original Resident Evil and remake of Resident Evil. Resident Evil 7 is still a great game that stands on its own, but the ending to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard tells us that there's going to be more Resident Evil games to come, and you guys and gals have to play this game. I do recommend you play this game. Even if you guys and gals have never played a Resident Evil game before, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, in my mind, is an absolute classic and a return to form for survival horror games. Definitely a return to form for Resident Evil, a series yours truly has grown up with, and I'm so proud to be a Resident Evil fan. At number 3, we have Silent Hill 2 by Masashi Tsuboyama. I think that's how you say his name. Silent Hill 2, in terms of story, characters, the atmosphere, those qualities alone are superior to the original Resident Evil game and the newest one, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. It's a huge contradiction, I know, but Silent Hill 2 has such a compelling story, a very sad, tragic, compelling story, as we follow the main character, James Sunderland, who has recently lost his wife, his beloved wife, Mary. The town of Silent Hill brings out the worst in James Sunderland, as everything he's ever experienced begins to manifest. All the horrors in his life he can see right before his eyes, and the horrors he sees and what he's done in his past, which I won't reveal to you guys and gals, it breaks our heart because we've grown to love James, we've grown to adore him actually. So when you reach the very end and you understand him more and more until the revelation of what he's done in his past, it breaks our hearts so much, and this is what makes Silent Hill 2 so powerful and so amazing and so enduring. As effective as the atmosphere, tension and suspense are, what makes Silent Hill 2 so great and so enduring is the characters, the story, the atmosphere, and everything about this game is what brings horror to life. This game is defined for its characters, it's defined for its story. Silent Hill 2 has such a compelling story, it has such interesting themes and ideas to explore, and this game can be quite dark and quite disturbing at times. It's not for the faint of hearts. Silent Hill 2 is what really makes survival horror. This game has everything I look for in a survival horror game. It may rank at number 3, but that does not diminish what makes Silent Hill 2 so great, and why you guys and gals have to play it at some point in your life. This game is a must play before you die. It's something I believe you guys and gals will love, and something that you may not enjoy at first, but it's one that you have to play if you are in fact a hardcore gamer, because this game is true survival horror, a true survival horror game for all survival horror fans. At number 4, we have Fatal Frame 2 by Makoto Shibata. Fatal Frame 2 is a game I've grown to play alongside my younger brother. Both of us love Japanese culture. We also love South Korean and Chinese culture in general, so it's no surprise my younger brother and I fell in love with this game and why we love survival horror games set in Japan. Fatal Frame 2 is a survival horror game, the best in the series, which focuses on 2 girls. One girl is named Mayu and the other one, I forgot what her name is, but they are basically twin sisters who experience horror inside this mansion, a mansion which is haunted by ghosts, and the only way for you to kill these ghosts is by using a camera, a special kind of camera which has some supernatural powers. One of the sisters, the twin sisters, goes missing. The sister who goes missing is Mayu, and the other sister, who is our main protagonist, goes looking for her and trying to rescue her beloved sister. Just like Silent Hill 2, Fatal Frame 2 has such great characters, a beautiful story, a very beautiful emotional story, great music, and a great song at the very end of the game. When you guys and gals hear this song for the very first time, it will bring a lot of tears down your eyes. This song is so beautiful, it's so emotional, it's so powerful as hell. Fatal Frame 2 can be quite scary, it can be quite disturbing, but this game at its core has a beautiful story about these sisters, the twin sisters, and these sisters, their bond is what makes this game so great. It's not often we see survival horror games or just video games in general that put so much emphasis on the sisters, 2 sisters who love each other, and these sisters are such strong characters we've grown to love. They are truly amazing characters who are so well written, so well defined. So to see their bond and how it ends up in the end, it broke the hearts of both myself and my brother. We love this game so much because of the sisters, because of their relationship. They give the story so much heart and so much soul, which is why my younger brother and I love this game to this very day. Fatal Frame 2 is such a phenomenal classic in survival horror and in video games in general. It's one I believe you guys and gals will love. There is no question Fatal Frame 2 is a great game and one you guys and gals have to play, which leads us to my number 5 pick, that being Clock Tower, which was directed by Hifumi Kono. For you guys and gals who don't know, Clock Tower is a 1995 survival horror game which was first released on the PC. So many years after the game was released, this game shocked my brother and I. We were so amazed by the characters, the story, and of course this game, guys, is so friggin' terrifying. The atmosphere is out of this world. This game is so haunting because you play as a little girl, an actual little girl who's being stalked by this man, a man wielding a pair of giant scissors. You heard me well, a pair of giant scissors, and this guy is stalking her around. Clock Tower takes place in a giant mansion in the middle of nowhere, and this young girl, like I said, is being stalked by this man wielding a giant pair of scissors. So Clock Tower, you can imagine how terrifying and how shocking it can be, especially how powerless you are as you play a young girl who is so weak physically, and the only way you can survive the horror of this game is if you run from the scissor man. You have to run and hide as fast as you can. Clock Tower may rank at number 5, but this game is still very scary. It's still very intense. Clock Tower and survival horror in general are games I love so much for the characters, the story, the atmosphere, the tension, and of course the horror, all of which are so good. These 5 games are what makes survival horror for me and why I love survival horror games so much. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe if you wish. If you guys and gals want to see more from me, then please check out my other channel where I talk about movies, anime, television, etc. Until next time, peace out, take care, adios, amigos, au revoir, and sayonara.